Flood.
Hey,
And we're going to get started with the interview.
Here I am. Sorry.
Hey.
Hey.
So please tell people who you are, what you do.
Hi, I'm Hope Flood. I am a comedian, extraordinary.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm an actress. I'm a radio personality.
Yeah.
I am the founder of the Comics Rock Convention.
Wow.
I am in the cannabis business.
Okay.
I'm making weed salt right now, so forgive me because I'm a little high.
But you know, hey, that's the way. That's what everybody's doing, especially California. You know, that's what they're doing out here. Everybody's doing it. So, when did you first get started in comedy in Hollywood?
Oh, I first started comedy in 1989.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to be in the entertainment business since I was 5, actually, but I didn't discover stand-up comedy till way later. But I was in every school play, I was in every talent show, you know, whatever, and so it was just in my blood ever since I did the first ever Easter speech at my church, you know, whatever, and I got the fever for it, and so yeah, but so I knew I wanted to be in the entertainment, so I went to a comedy club where D.L. Hughley was the host.
Wow.
He wasn't who he was then. He was still working on it, but he was so hilarious. He was hilarious even then. And I went up to him after the show, and I said, I want to do comedy. He said, come back next week. I said, give me 2 weeks. And I came back 2 weeks. I went around to comedy clubs. I wrote, I guess, some material. I had never done stand-up before.
Right.
And I wrote some material, and then I went back, invited all my friends, because they were waiting on me to do it, because I kept saying I was going to do it. Yeah. And so they had been waiting on me, and I did 15 minutes and really kind of got a standing ovation. And he came up, D.L. Hughley came up to me. He says, is this your first time on stage? I said, it's my first time on stage doing stand-up. He said, man, when you get where you're going, you're going to be amazing. And so here we are 30 years later. He's my mentor and personal friend. And, you know, and it's just, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, because for your first time, you get 15 whole minutes. That's terrifying. That's a
I
long
know.
time in comedy.
It is a long.
That's like 40 years.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I had a lot to say.
You from Michigan, Ben Harbor, Michigan. And so when did you move to LA though?
When I was 6, I moved to LA. My mother actually, she came and kidnapped my brother and I. We went to school one day. We was with my grandmother, and we were being abused and stuff or whatever. So my great grandmother told her, you need to come and get your kids. And so my mother was already in California.
Gotcha.
And so we went to school one day and never came back. Okay. You know, not till like 5 or 6 years later, but we didn't come back for a long time. And so I've been in California ever since. I mean, I'm so from LA. I went to Los Angeles High School. Romans in the building. Romans.
That's it. Olympic. That's it. So that's good. So you already knew the culture before you got into doing stand-up. You already pretty much know how people.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm a Cali girl. I'm a Cali girl. Yeah. You know, without a doubt, I'm a Cali girl.
So I always ask actors, comedians, what was their experience like? Like, lots of times when you get on and you had a great story, you said DL embraced you. A lot of times they don't get embraced initially like that. So, but you have experience where you got embraced right away, at least from.
No, you do. You get a mentor. I had a lot of mentors coming up in the game, and a lot of females that I watched that are still mentors to this day. Jetta Jones, who was Miss Dupree on the Tom Joyner Morning Show.
Dupree, yeah.
She's my mentor. Marsha Warfield now is my mentor. She came to my comedy convention and blessed us. Simply Marvelous, may God rest her soul. She was the first ever Black female to get a HBO special. She was my mentor. Rodney Winfield, who passed away, he was in Talking Dirty After Dark, wore the sailor hat. Yeah. He was my mentor. You know, so I had a lot of people who are already planted in the business that embraced me and mentored me. And then I had one of the hottest comedy nights in LA for like 7 years, where we groomed comedians like Jamie Foxx and Chris Tucker and AJ Johnson. We started a lot of people in that room, you know, whatever. So they would come there because comics go where the crowd is. They go where it's popping and it's a good room. So that's where they go. And so, yeah. And so I had a great time with that. You know,
Yeah.
Cheryl Underwood and I were best friends for 15 years, you
Right.
know. So I've been around. I've been around in a long time.
That's good. So for female comics, is it harder for female comics in comedy in the
Oh, yeah.
business?
If I had a dick and two balls, I would be so much further. Oh, can I say this? Is this a
Or,
Christian show?
but yeah, sure, yeah. But I didn't
Oh,
mean
I'm
something to say
sorry.
that was funny. Why you
I'm
feel that way?
sorry.
Why do you feel that way?
And because it's easier, even with the Kings of Comedy, when they did the Queens of Comedy, it didn't do what the Kings did, you know, as far as revenue, attendance,
Marketing.
and all of those guys became millionaires and got sitcoms out of it. You know, it didn't do that for the Queens of Comedy, and then the promoter didn't promote it correctly. He didn't really believe in female comedians and things like that. So I think a lot of that has to do with it as well. It's just, you know, like anything else, Solomon, it's just people. I'm not saying that. Let me say it where I can be correct. Miss Laura says it best. They're not gonna put $30,000-$40,000 in a woman's hand, but they'll put it in a man's hand. They'll give him 50, 60 grand. But thank God our girl, our little sister Tiffany Haddish is making money and dispelling all of that and breaking barriers and stuff, and she getting it. And I'm so happy and so proud of her for getting it and stuff. And then she's reaching back to other ladies and female comedians and helping them. So I'm excited about that.
Well, that's interesting that you be one of the ones that support Tiffany, because a lot of people was controversy about that, how they feel as if it was too premature. Like you don't think of Tiffany when I think of you and Melanie and all the ones like Samoa and all the queens that started way back 20, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. We don't think of Tiffany. So if people's like, well, how did she get to where, like you said, you guys wanted to be with, you know, when they dished out that money and she got it, and a lot of people didn't, who was before her, but you support her.
Yeah, of course we support her. She's our sister. You know, like I support Monique and what she taught, you know, what her stand is. And Monique is a friend of mine. And I called her on the phone. I said, Mo, I support you. I fucks with you, Mo, or whatever, but I can't say it publicly because, you know, I look like a hater, you know, whatever. But you fighting for what I've been trying to fight for 25 years ago when we were trying to get the money up for BET. And she said, why are you doing that? This is a black network. This is what we have. And I said, Mo, if we don't fight now, they'll always treat us this way. Yeah. And so she didn't get that then, but she sure gets it now. And she gave me an apology and a shout out on her podcast and said, Hope Flood told me 20 plus years ago that if we do not nip this in the bud and stop letting them treat us like that, then they're going to always treat us like that. And it's come back to really bite us in the butt and a lot of things. But Tiffany has brought, and to Tiffany's defense, she's been around. She's been grinding. Right. She just hasn't been on the black circuit per se. She wasn't around when we were doing Comic View and Def Comedy Jam. I mean, she's nothing but 30-something years old, 36, 37, or whatever. Even though she's been doing comedy since she was 16, she was in a lot of comedy summer boot camps and things like that.
So you
and the owner of the owner of the Laugh Factory got behind her or whatever. And you know, like TD Jake said, favor ain't fair, baby. Yeah. You know, and it is who gets it. You know, and she's been grinding and stuff. So to her defense, she's been grinding and everything. And I know people are saying, well, she's not the funniest and stuff. Funny is not the criteria, unfortunately. Yeah. It's not enough, is what I'm saying. Yeah. You have to have that push behind you. You have to have somebody that believes in you. You have to have all of those things and everything. And she had people behind her. She's got an amazing team of people behind her that's pushing her through those doors and stuff. And she is talented. You know, whatever. People may not think her stand-up is so talented, but her acting is. So sometimes you go in the door a different way that other people go in the door.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
everybody's path is not the same.
There's no holy grail on how to make it. You got to just take opportunity as they come, right?
There's no formula to this. If it was, I'd have it, okay? Yeah. But there's no, I'd be selling it on the internet to comedians and stuff. So there's no formula. There's no, you just got to really, you got to work hard. Yeah. And, you know, and I'm not saying to my defense or anything, but, you know, I'm a mother and stuff. So the time that I was doing my comedy, I was raising my son as a single mom, you know, whatever. And so I couldn't leave him to chance, you know, with with just anybody, you know, whatever. And so I could go and come and go and come. And as he got older, I could go a little bit more, but he started acting up in school. So I knew I had to come home because kids fear abandonment a lot of times and stuff. And he always knew I was coming home, but he would start acting up in school because at the end of the day, he a mama's boy and he want his mama. Okay. So, you know, I could only do so much. Whereas Tiffany, and you look at some more, and Adele and them, and even Monique had a strong family backing that helped take care of the kids. She had a husband and stuff like that. Shirley has no kids, single. You know, Lunel had a baby daddy that helped her. So everybody's circumstance is different, and everybody's path to success is different. So, you know, it's no one way.
In regard to stand-up being a craft of its own, what do you horn your cultivation to being able to stand on that stage for a certain amount of time and not lose the attention of the crowd? When it's all like I look back at Richard Pryor, he could be on stage and just talk about anything, and he would just cultivate the crowd, keep their attention. That's what for me. I articulate it as full circle for a comedian, to where you can just get on that stage and it seems like you're just talking about whatever, and it's funny, as opposed to just telling jokes. So what was the process for you horning that for your skill, to where people just want to see you on stage and they love Whole Flood on stage?
I think that my comedy, if I can put it in a nutshell, my comedy to me is a conversation with my girlfriends on stage. So, you know how you go to the beauty shop, or you go to a bachelorette party, or, you know, you with your girls or something, y'all just hanging out and y'all talking about stuff or relationships or other women and things, the kids or whatever. And so I just take that and put it on stage because 90% of the audience is women. So they're going to relate to everything that I'm talking about, because when I try out the material, I don't necessarily go to the comedy club and try it out. I'll go to the beauty shop and just start talking, you know, whatever. And if they laugh, I'm like, okay, this is going to work on stage. This is going to work on stage. So that's really my process on how I figure out if something is going to work. But comedy is what they say, tragedy in reverse. I know that's cliche, but it's kind of tragedy in reverse. But also it's our pain on stage. So Richard was a storyteller. Bill Cosby are storytellers. Sinbad's a storyteller, you know, and then you have people that are just do fast-paced jokes and stuff or whatever. I'm more of a fast-paced joke type of person. Lunel's a storyteller or whatever. So you have different styles of comedy as well, you know. So, you know, you just have different styles, and people love who they love. I ain't gonna say everybody love me. Everybody don't love me, and I'm okay with that. The mere fact that I can get on stage and stuff. I mean, Janet Jackson is my favorite artist, but hell, she ain't had a hit album in 10 years. But I still love her. I'm still gonna see her. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. You build your core fans that no matter what you say or do, they coming. They coming. You know. And they support you and they love you, and that's the premise of everything.
You begin to be your base audience that supports you no matter what, and that's like
no matter what you do.
Real followers, real fans. That's what's important.
Correct. Correct. I love it.
So when you credit the high school drama class, and you credit stand up, then you go on these auditions for Hollywood. Like how do you feel confident going on those auditions for TV and film? Like, how did that help you do that?
I haven't been on many auditions and stuff. I've been really focusing on my stand-up. And the movies that I've done, it was just word of mouth, like, oh, they need somebody, or I recommended you. And I just went in and kind of did them and stuff. I have gone on auditions before, but I'm just really not good at it. It is a skill set within itself to audition, and I haven't mastered it yet. I'm like, do I hold the paper? Do I put the paper down? Do I memorize the stuff or whatever? So I haven't. So even now in my age now, whatever, in my memory, I'm like, do I want to do that? I think I would do reality TV because it's loosely scripted, you know, whereas they give you a shell and they say, okay, we're going to talk about this stuff, and then you can just do what you want to do, you know, whatever. So it's just kind of like that,
So so how would you explain like the business now? Like if you want to, like you said, you mentor a lot of young comics and stuff. So a lot of people who still want to pursue their Hollywood dreams, and it's changing. So how would you advise young aspiring actors, comedians to, still pursue their dreams in Hollywood?
Well, we don't need another comedian. Okay, let me start there. We don't. The door is closed. The door is closed. Okay, I got the memo. If y'all want to see it, I'll email it, fax it. I'll send it by kite. I don't care, but we don't need no more comedians and stuff or whatever. The door is closed. No, really and seriously. I do a comedy convention every year for comedians. It started off with females, and it was called the Females in Comedy Convention. And I have a group on Facebook called Females in Comedy Association, FICA. And I wanted to create a platform where female comedians, we could talk among ourselves and find out why are we not where we're supposed to be, why the last Black female comedian to ever have a sitcom on TV on a national network was in 1997, and that was Thea Vidal and stuff in her name. So we haven't had that since then, whatever. Because people will say, oh, what, Monique? No, that was the Parkers, and that was Countess Bond's show. Whatever. People really understand how that worked. That was Countess's show. It wasn't Monique's show and everything, and it was called the Parkers. It wasn't called the Monique show and stuff. So that's a little different. So I figured that, I was like, let's have a conversation. Let's figure out why we're not advancing like the men. And from there, birthed a comedy convention that I did with comedians for 2 years, and then I rebranded it the third year and allowed the male comedians to come, and now it's called the Comics Rock Convention. And so it's our 8th year. I was supposed to do it in April, but I got to push it back till next year. We're going to do a lot of classes online, but it's like God put in my heart to create a vehicle to help comedians to win, to give them workshops and seminars taught by other successful comedians to help them to stir up their gifts inside of them, because stand-up comedy is just not enough. And we have other talents inside of us that we haven't even tapped into, other gifts and stuff. We're just not one-dimensional. We're multi-talented. Most comedians, they can sing, they can act, they can do radio. I didn't know I could do radio until I got a job in radio in Dallas. And I was like, damn, I'm born to do radio, whatever. So we don't know that until we get those opportunities or we tap into that. And that's what my Comics Rock Convention does. It helps you to tap into your talents that you don't even know that you have and everything. So then you have all these internet comedians. These guys are doing skits and then they try to transfer it to stand up. Yeah. And I'm not trying to pigeonhole anybody in the lane per se. Like you can only do stand up or you can only do this, whatever. If you have more gifts, you have more gifts and you need to tap into them. But a lot of these internet comedians who are doing these skits and video, that doesn't translate into stand-up, because when you get to a comedy club, you don't have time to change clothes and do those skits and stuff like that. You need to be doing stand-up or whatever. So I'm not saying anything against them. I just think that they need another lane, that they need to call it something else and put it in another lane other than stand-up comedy. That's all I'm saying about it, because I ain't trying to stop nobody from getting their coins. Get your coins, boo. Yeah. Okay, whatever. But people even calling it like one man, one woman shows. Like it's, but not stand up, whatever. And because it's not stand up per se. It's funny and they're funny skits. It's almost like, for instance, a comedic actor as opposed to a stand up comedian. They're not the same. Okay, so for instance, Tachina Arnold, Tisha Campbell, Kim Whitley, even though Kim does stand up now, they're considered comedic actresses. Marlon Wayans, comedic actors and actresses, and then there's stand up comedians. Yes. Two totally different things. Yes. Yeah. And so definitely. Yeah. So
Or even if an actor part or character they play is a funny character, that would be like a comedic
comedic actor. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That's comedic actor. Correct.
So, are you eager to get back out there and start doing stand-up?
Yeah. I see what I see on Instagram and on social media with my fellow comedians. They are spiraling down. They are not. Some of them ain't gonna make it. Some of them ain't gonna make it because what we found out with this isolation and this pandemic across the country, we need human touch. We need to be around people. We cannot be isolated. Even in the Bible, when Adam was alone, nobody knows. I've asked every Bible scholar that I can, how long was Adam alone in the garden before God created Eve? And nobody knows, because time wasn't created until sin. So he could have been there 1 day, 2 days, 100 years. We don't know. But God just said that man should not be alone and everything. And so we have found in this pandemic that we need that human touch. We need the sun. We need to be out and mingling. And so comedians, a part of us getting on stage is our therapy. It's our counseling. It helps to heal us from all the trauma in our lives and all the mental issues, because all of us are crazy in our own right. Anybody want to get on stage and talk about their life and we're going to laugh about it is not stable or whatever. So them not being able to get the love from the fans and the taking the pictures and just the laughter, it's really bad. And we're all going to be a little rusty too when we get back on stage. You know, I know it's like riding a bike, but I know we're going to be all over the place trying to get our bearing and figuring out and some of the clubs have opened back up. So some people are like, yeah, my first show, it was rough. It was a little rough. A little rough. I forgot my act. It was a little rough.
You thinking through the downtime, they got all this great material that they come up with, and it's gonna be so funny. So I don't know about.
But you still got to get on stage. You still have to get on stage to get the timing and your delivery.
Yeah.
See, stand-up comedy is an on-the-job training. You can be funny in the mirror. You can be funny at the picnics and all this stuff, but you really need that audience to gauge it, and then that's how you develop your timing and how the delivery and how this stuff is going to drop.
Yeah, make it come alive. Because a lot of people say they'll go and try it out. So yeah, that's what trying it out means.
That's what try it out. Sometimes you'll see Chris Rock or Chappelle or even Seinfeld on stage with a pad when they're working on material. You know, Deion Cole does it best, you know, working on material or whatever to see if it's going to work. And then they'll go around, especially if they're working on a special, and they'll go around the comedy club after comedy club and work on the material because they have to get that timing together. They got to make sure it drops right. They got to make sure the pauses are where it needs to be, or it needs to speed up, or it needs to set back and stuff. And that you can only get that with getting time on stage.
Yes. So, you know, this show was created to really horn in on Hollywood stars' journey thus far, the Hollywood experience, the embracing of Hollywood, and the advice they would give not only to themselves but to others, you know, and to solidify how to navigate through it all, you know. And so this is what it's for. So you have been one of the first female comedians that we go back as far as Comedy Central, Def Jam. You was around and you was doing your thing, and we love you and we love what you're doing, and we definitely want to continue to see you, hear from you. And please let them know what you're working on now and what you got coming up. Please.
Well, right now, you know, right now I'm just trying to keep my son alive.
Yeah.
You know, I have a son, I'm a mom, and I worry about him all the time and, you know, whatever. And some days I can't sleep at night. I'm worrying about my baby, you know, whatever, and my grandkids and things like that. And so far, thanking God for his grace and his mercy that we are safe. You know, but LA is a city where the LAPD shoot first and ask questions later, you know, whatever. And so, we've been notorious. All this stuff that's going on in the world, LA started that gangster stuff, okay? They've been the first people to shoot you in the back and pull you over. I mean, they had Wesley Snipes one time on the curb, you know what I'm saying? And they knew Wesley Snipes. They don't care, you know, whatever. So working on the Black Lives Matter movement with my girl Lunel. We're going to do a protest at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood on this Friday. I hadn't been involved in it, like protesting and stuff and going out, because the way my knee is set up, if I fall, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I fall and I can't get out or whatever. So it's like them kids and stuff. So let the kids do it. Let the millennials do it. That's what I love about the millennials, is that we may not see it in our lifetime, and we may see it, but they are going to eradicate racism because the millennials do not see color. And the grandparents and the people who have instilled it are dead, and they're not around anymore to instill racism because it's a learned behavior, it's a taught behavior. So you will see kids now, you'll see an Asian with Hispanic, you'll see a Filipino with a white person, you'll see a black you'll see them all together and stuff, because now the schools are so integrated now or whatever, and the Hispanics moved into our neighborhoods in the hood. So now you see the Hispanic women with black men, and stuff, and vice versa and stuff. So they don't see color. The biracial and interracial couples and the biracial children and stuff. So you don't see it anymore, and they're going to get rid of it. You'll hear an Asian say, I'm going to my friend Jose's house to have tacos. They've never had tacos before. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll say, the Hispanics say, I'm going to Jing Lu's house to have a sushi. They've never had that stuff before. And so they don't see color, and they're not afraid. And that term where they say, I have a teacher say, I am not my ancestors, you get these hands. I wish we would stop saying that, because our ancestors, they were no punks either. Yeah. We wouldn't be this far without our ancestors, with the sit-ins and the marching and the bus boycott and things like that. We wouldn't be as far as we are without our ancestors. Yeah. And they were fearless. But after you start getting killed and beaten and raped and stuff like that, they have beaten fear into us as a people. Yeah. And that's part of the problem. But these kids, they not fearless. And I stand with them. I stand with their looting. I stand with everything. I just tell them, if you go to the Gucci store on Rodeo, just get me something. Just pick me up a little purse or some sandals or something like that or whatever. So, that. But so I'm just trying to, navigate through this COVID thing and stay alive myself. I get up every morning. I take my elderberry syrup. I do my silver Kaleido silver. I got an herbal store over here. I got Sprouts over here. Okay, I got so much stuff I take. You would think I was an herbal junkie and stuff, because I'm trying to stay alive and live. But I'm also trying to be out and live and stuff. All this staying in the house and stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all gonna get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? We all going to the next journey in life and stuff. And but I do want to live and things like that. So I'm just, I'll stay in the house 2-3 days, work on some things, and I'll go out for a little while, go get some groceries, go get some food, go say hi to somebody. And then, it's show messing with my social life. Okay. I ain't going to lie. Okay.
So please tell me your social media handles and everything, how they can get in touch with you and everything.
On Instagram, it's hope.flood. On Facebook, it's Hope Flood. You can go to hopeflood.com. If you are trying to heal and deal with your anxiety, your PTSD, and your trauma, get with me about cannabis and CBD. I don't want people to think that it's a bad thing. It is a healer. God used it. Jesus used it in the Bible. When he made the salve to make the blind man see, he used cannabis. It was an indica and everything. It was called strange plant or cannabosum. So it's been around for 100 years. The Indians used it in the peace pipes. The Romans used it. It's been around over 100,000 years. And people are on prescription drugs that will never heal you. You are putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It will never heal you. CBD stands for cannabinoid, and we have cannabinoid reflectors already in our bodies. So when you ingest anything CBD, it doesn't get you high, but when you ingest it, it connects with the reflectors in your body, and it starts the healing process. From your PTSD, your molestation, your rape, your trauma, anything that you have that has happened in your life that's traumatic, that's what you use CBD for. THC has CBD in it, but that's what gets you high and gets you the psychoactive feeling. And you cannot heal cancer without THC. You can heal cancer, but you cannot heal it without THC. So don't let them tell you that it's a bad thing. Don't tell you that it's a gateway drug. Yeah, it's a gateway drug to the bed to go to sleep or to the refrigerator to get something to eat. That's about it. But other than that, it is a healer. It is $1 trillion business, and they're trying to keep blacks and Hispanics out of this business and stuff, but we are coming for this business. We've been smoking and doing stuff since the beginning of time, and it's legal in about 35 states and counting and stuff because it's a healer and it's making a lot of money. So if you guys are interested, you can go to highhopes.biz. That's where my cannabis business and stuff is, and it's a business I have with my son. and everything because he smoked so much damn weed. I was like, we might as well try to make some money off of it and stuff. And I always wanted to have a business with my son. So that's what we are. And so that's it. So I'm working on some other projects I can't speak on. You'll see a partial reality show, hopefully, with my girls and things like that. So I thank you so much for having me. I thank you for this interview.
No, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for doing this outlet platform. This is Hollywood Now with Hope Flood. And definitely King Simon Entertainment Company on most social media, all social media, KingSimonEntertainment.tv, my website. And please share, comment, subscribe. Definitely get in touch with Hope, her convention, everything she got going on. Definitely follow her. Thank you so much for doing my outlet. I appreciate you. We're going to be in touch. That's my buddy.
Okay.
Hope Flood.
Yes.
Have a
Yes.
great day.
Bye, babe.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.